On the opinion-based question also, you take up a stand, you take up a position. Being logical is fantastic. Argumentative, I'm not happy, but okay. But persuasive is absolutely no. You have gone there not to change somebody's opinion, not to correct somebody, but to get marks. Hi, today we are talking about a very debatable issue that when you are there in the interview room and there are some questions which they are asking you and you are not very clear and happy about the stand that they're taking, how do you show your disagreement to them? Today I'm going to talk about dealing such kind of issues when there is some controversies, there is some debate, and then you have to have a stand which can be different from what the board has got. In fact, I must tell you here that there are two set of locations where this disagreement can come. One is factual and the second is on the opinion based. So let's deal with them separately. What factual issue, if they told you some facts which is not correct and you know that is not correct, remember that you have not gone there to teach them or correct them. That's not the occasion. You got there to get marks, and that's purpose should be very clear in your mind. So on the factual thing, and I think you have to be a little careful about the opinion-based question and argument. Again, I mean, I understand from my age that we are like nearly fixated on certain issues, that we have got our opinion which I have been living for so many decades. I don't want to change, and more so from a young boy and girl like you who's not the right location for me to change my opinion. So again, like there you are trying to change my opinion, you have great risk that you're entering into. So one has to be very careful, and then that's something which is what delicate point I'm going to talk about today. Well, let us understand one thing. They also at the same time do not want a yes man to be hired, or a person who is going to be hired who would say yes to everything that they say. They say like, hey, Everest is not the highest peak in the world, and you know that is the highest peak and it's a factual thing. And then you say like, yes sir, K2 is the highest peak in the world, or Everest is not the highest peak in the world. You can't really change position like that. But then there's a way to go about it, and that's something which is what, if they have got certain opinion that this mixed economy is not working for India, and you know that mixed economy has so far brought us to the place that we are, which is working for our case. I think that's the opinion that they have got. Again, you can't really take up a stand which becomes too much crystallized, in the sense like they have a different position and you have a different position. Remember, I keep reminding all the time, you have gone there not to change somebody's opinion, not to correct somebody, but to get marks. This is one thing that should always be very clear. But at the same time, while you're going there to get marks, you should also be careful of the fact that you are not a person who is becoming a kind of a person who is not having critical thinking. The approach that I like you to maintain in such condition is that you are willing to verify, you are willing to read. At the same time, you don't say that, yes sir, you are right, sir, Everest is not the highest peak in the world. You could possibly say that, sir, my reading suggested that, however, I will go back and read it again. I will read it again. If there is some new findings that come, I have not come to know about it. Which means you have explained your position that to my understanding it is the highest. What you say, I'm not denying that your research that you have read just now is wrong, is not correct. But then I will go back and read it again. And then I suppose on the opinion-based question also, you take up a stand, you take up a position on that, like this mixed economy has not worked for our country. You take up, these are the facts which are suggested. However, there could be multiple views on the same thing, and then hypothetically one can always debate that has not worked for our country. You are showing some accommodation of the other viewpoint, and that is something which is very important, and you should be seen as a person who is accommodative and yet politely firm on the stand that it has got. But when there is a position, when it comes like me or you, at that time there is a lot of current flowing. So I suppose we have to learn from a technique called circuit breaker. You have to apply a circuit breaker. When it gets, let's say, I would say being logical is fantastic. Argumentative, I'm not happy, but okay. But persuasive is absolutely no. So remember this, logical to argumentative, that's where you have to be mostly having on the controversial issues, talk to them. But then the moment you see that it's becoming persuasive, where me versus you, either your view or my view, then at that stage, circuit breaker is a technique that I keep telling people to use. Circuit breaker is that, I mean, you should say that, sir, my knowledge seems to be, requires to be, or appears to be updated on that. I'll go back and read on this, but it doesn't break the circuit. You say thank you. Thank you is a polite no. Like somebody offering you a tea and then you don't want a tea, you say thank you, which means like no. So that's something which is what I like you to use as a circuit breaker technique. This is a beautiful technique. I have evolved this technique over a long time of my experience, and it really works to come out of the area of any controversy that you may be having in the interview. Instead of agreeing, instead of showing that I don't have my stand, I don't have my critical thinking, you should agree to disagree, but not by saying that I agree to disagree, or let's agree to disagree, those kind of words, but you just break the circuit and come out of it. And then that way you are showing a person who has got a critical thinking, logical reasoning, and also politely firm on the position that it has got, and they would definitely appreciate that. But then how to really execute that? There's a lot of practice which is required to be done. In fact, if you have got any doubt on those issues, that how to take stand on this issue, what kind of a stand I should be having, I would be very happy to personally interact with you at the time of interview. If you have got any doubt, we would be more than happy to guide you on those as to what stand you should be taking, any controversial issues. And more you practice, the better it gets. But then remember, being honest, being polite is an excellent thing. Truthful doesn't mean that you become impolite and harsh about it. I hope it is clear. All the best.